Sorry. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, Gabri.
Great. So it's my great pleasure to have Feroz Abbas Khan, one of India's finest directors in theatre and cinema. Feroz, how lovely to see you, and congratulations. You're back with a new play, Letters for Suresh, or
Yeah.
Letters to Suresh. Have I got that
Letters of
right?
Suresh. Letters of
Okay.
Suresh.
So tell me, after the sort of lavish productions of Mughal Azam and Civilizations, you're back to, in a way, the stripped down,
Yeah.
theater that made you such a name with Tumhari Amrita. I think there's so much outpouring of love and affection for Tumhari Amrita even today. So I was wondering, was that something at the back of your mind when you decided to do this new play?
No, actually, in fact, I thought that I'll never do a play about letters again because I do
Right,
something once. So again, this isn't a play done like Tumhari Amrita.
right,
It's done in a very different way. While
right.
Tumhari Amrita was about reading the letters, this is about enacting and performing the letters. It's very
Okay.
different. Yeah,
Right.
and it just happens that I was supposed to meet this terrific writer called Rajiv Joseph. So I had known about him. I'd read something, but then this was something that caught my attention, and I read Letters of Suresh, and I thought it was a kind of a writing that in a way possessed me. And when something like this happens, that it doesn't leave you, it starts affecting me physically
Hmm.
because I need to get it out of my system because it
Right.
just keeps back again and again and again and again. And then I met Rajiv also in New York, and he was very excited. It's not the play that's been done very often because the first time it happened was after COVID. It's one of the plays they
Okay.
did after COVID, yeah.
Right.
And so I just found the form of the play fascinating, and of course the writing. It's one of those writing that you come across very rarely, and I think Rajiv Joseph has done that with Letters of Suresh.
Right.
So it's the writing that's really affected me very deeply.
Right. Tell me a little more about the way you've conceived it, the way it'll be enacted. Tell me a little more about it.
Yeah, see, I said that this can be done like just a reading because it's a series of monologues,
Right.
except a play, a scene where they talk to each other. But otherwise, it's a series of monologues. So it is. It starts off with a bunch of letters that the grandniece of Father Hashimoto, who's passed away. He's a priest in Japan, and she's received a whole lot of letters that when she went there, she got it, and they were the correspondence between Father Hashimoto and a young boy called Suresh. So she wants to
Hmm.
send these letters to Suresh back, and she's trying to
Right.
connect with him. Okay, and that's
Right.
how the whole play starts. So while
Wow.
all the characters starts, connecting with Suresh, and then we have Suresh writing about Hashimoto. So in a sort of series of monologues, we see the interconnectedness of all the characters, and
Hmm.
as they are reading the letters, they are writing letters, and through that you
Right.
knew how the that each other lives are actually affecting each other, and all of them are yearning for a connection. And that's what the play is. And this play is performed. It's each actor becomes each letter, in the sense that each letter is not just spoken in the sense of how you could do a monologue, just stand and read a letter. It's not that. They are performing. So that's the unique part of this play. And for a longer, in the sense that before I decided to do the play, the first test that I wanted to do was, does the play perform better than it reads? Because it reads very well. So if you can read it, then why perform it? If it's very well done, can it be better than that, or at least approximate the quality of the writing in terms of when you read it? And that's where I first said, let's do a few sort of kind of workshopping with that. And I did a lot of workshop with the actors. I worked a lot with them, and after having done that, and when I started seeing them perform the way I felt this play should be, is the day I decided that now I should actually perform. If it hadn't worked, I would not have done the play. If in the initial stages of the workshop I realized that this isn't working, then I won't. So I started off not wanting to do it, okay? And then once it started happening, I felt, yes, it's at least as good at this moment as when you read the play. and it'll only get better now that we come to the performance.
Right. That's wonderful. So it's really all about the words and the language that
Yeah,
sort of enticed
yeah,
you, you know. So bringing,
absolutely.
yeah.
And the form of
So,
writing, and the form of
right,
writing, and the
right.
kind of performance that we are trying to achieve. The kind of performance that we are trying to achieve is extremely delicate, and it's really very, very. It's something that perhaps we haven't seen the kind of performance that we are trying to do, because it's borders on reading and performing. So it's a very interesting place to be. So that's the reason that I'm very excited about doing this kind of form. That also was a very important factor for me.
Also, the whole romance of letter writing in this age of texting and
Yeah,
WhatsApping,
yeah.
bringing language back to the center stage
Yes,
in the way we
yes,
receive words,
yeah.
at a time when I think words to a large extent have lost their importance. They've lost their poetry in that sense.
Yeah.
That I think is a very significant thing with a play like this, isn't it?
Absolutely, you nailed it. This is the reason, is that there's not only just nostalgia about writing letters, that is also in a way reclaiming the power of language. And to me, it is actually so poetic. The play is, it could almost be poetry. He's written it so beautifully, and that's the reason, because theater is about language. Theater is about performance. That's the power of theater, and I want to go back to experience it myself and give that experience to the audience.
It sounds so wonderful. I can almost see it being enacted. Tell me a little about your actors. I'm quite
Yeah,
curious because they all seem very young and very talented
yeah,
bunch. Tell me a little
yeah.
about.
Yeah, let me start with Palomi. Now, Palomi Ghosh is a actress has done cinema and has
Yeah,
done
I've
OT
seen
clips.
her
She's in
work. She's
theater. Yeah,
exceptional.
she's an exceptional talent,
Yeah,
and she somehow, I met her in a way that she through a common friend, and she expressed a desire to work with me, and I saw her work, and in fact she was supposed to work with me in Mughal Azam as one of the other character, Bahar, but it didn't work out. But she just wanted to work with me, and I wanted to work with her, and so I was finding a play which I thought would be right for us to engage, you know. And when I got Suresh, she was the first one I called up, and I said, I think, Palomi, we finally got a play that we can work together. And as it happened, she was in the United States when I called her out. And then we met in Toronto, and then I gave the play to her, and of course she just loved it. And I really love what Palomi does. She's a very special actor, so I wanted to engage with her. Then the next casting happened was Veer. Now Veer he came up to me in one of a social function, and he said, "I've seen your work and I want to work with you." And then he told me about what he's been doing. He's gone to RADA, so he's done 3 years of RADA, which is one of the
absolutely.
premier
Yeah,
institution. Yeah, so
and
it was
very tough to get into, and a tough
very
course.
tough.
But yeah,
Very tough course. So when I heard that he'd done, he didn't come to me with, you know,
saying that I'm Raju Hirani's
no,
son.
no, 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 no. He's so special. That conversation never even came into a few meetings that we had. That was neither the consideration for me, and neither the consideration that he would have loved. He is his own person, and he is his own person and very unique in his own way. And then when he came for the audition, I realized he was just the right. So it was like an actor or a character was searching for an actor, and the actors kept finding themselves into the part. So that's how it happened with him. So I first auditioned him like I would audition anyone, and his audition was absolutely stunning. He was so good, and it felt that Suresh character is somebody that only, at least to my mind, at this point of time, only Veer could play. And then thereafter, our process of workshopping started, and it was very wonderful because I'm working with a trained actor, you know. So the challenges are very different while working with a trained actor. And so he came in. Then the other actor is Harsh Singh. Harsh Singh has been around as an actor in, I think, OTT. He does theater. And he played Jawaharlal Nehru in My Civilization to Nation.
Wow.
And it was very strange is that while I was working with him, it's a speech he does in my production of Tryst with Destiny, because the whole show Civilization to Nation is from Om to the Constitution. So this is a point that he does the live Jawaharlal Nehru's Tryst with Destiny. So while I was working with him, and one day I just thought that, I'll break him from his monotony of what he's doing. So let me give him something which is completely different so that he breaks away. So I gave him this letter. There's just one letter. It's the last letter of the play is by Father Hashimoto, and which is actually a defining piece of work. So he read that, and without knowing the context of anything, he was in tears. He was almost going to weep. He was so moved by that piece. And then it struck me is that without a context, the man is engaged, is affected by this piece. So there couldn't be anyone better than him. And that's how he came in. And the other one was a difficult one, was a character of Amelia. Amelia is a slightly elderly a woman to Suresh. Suresh is like 20 something, and it's a relationship between them. So I was looking out for that face and that personality, whose face and personality told her story, you know. And so I met her at Prithvi Theatre at again a social function with Kunal Kapoor, and I kept looking at her, and I said, "She is my Amelia, but I don't know whether she's an actor or not." She's actually not a regular actor. She's a filmmaker. She does lots of ad films. Not a director, but she produces them. Okay,
Right.
and she's a very successful and a very. But she had done an acting course from New York,
Wow.
from Lee Strasberg. So I met her again and I talked to her. And then I said, try it. Because I have done this before. I have taken people who weren't really actors as such in that sense. But they do have qualities of being an actor. And that's where, I feel that I can be of help. So I did audition with her, and she auditioned beautifully. She is just absolutely perfect for the part. So it's like, in a very organic way, or rather in a very strange way, I feel that everybody was being attracted to these characters. So these actors just found themselves the part. I didn't make
Right.
an effort of doing a formal audition. They just landed up for the part. That's how it has been.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I can almost, as I said, see it being enacted. But can we talk a little more about reclaiming language and the power of language in the age of social media, in the age of WhatsApp, in the age of, everything being instant? How do we make it, how do you engage with more and more people and return to them the beauty of this language, Hindi, English, Urdu? We have such wonderful languages that we can own. How do we do this in a more expanded way, make theater much more a part of our lives?
Yeah, I think if we make theater a part of our life, and a theater that is beautiful to listen to, uh, and uh, and very powerful in terms of its storytelling, which theater has been. Because from time immemorial, what does theater do? Whether you go to the classical theater, the original language of theater is poetry.
Yes.
Yeah, poetry is the domain and the language of theater. And thereafter, also people who have written prose, they actually are in many ways condensed, ideas and powerful emotions. That is what poetry does, and that's what prose does in theater. So theater, in any way, is deeply connected with verse, with poetry. So its language, even when it's in prose, has got a very strong connection with poetry, which means that all the great work in theater are based on language. And it is here that you come to hear a play also. With cinema, with other mediums, we just come and we are very passive. We just
Yeah.
want things to happen to us. And so naturally, there's a new language that's come in, which is not about words, which is not about igniting your imagination, right? It's just very passive. So it's a language that is spoken, and it's a language. There's a text relationship. There is no subtextual relationship that you have.
Right.
And that's where theater comes in, the kind of writing that you have in theater. Now, it's a very big job that we're saying that we have to do, is to get people change their habits now, because this is
Yeah.
part of evolution. That you could actually have in 200 words or even 100 words, you can carry on your whole life talking to each other because you don't need more than 100 words also in your
Right.
vocabulary, right?
Right.
But then to actually experience the power of language and how it affects you emotionally, how it intellectually stimulates you, how it nourishes your soul. I think nothing does better than language. And that's the reason that I was so keen that although Mughal Azam is also about language, it's not just
Yeah.
about spectacle. So is my other work. I do feel is that going back to this really purest form of theater, of language and performances, that's something that I want to do that. I've tried in most of my work that I have done, and I think I'm going to do that more and more.
Right. Do you ever want to return to cinema?
Well, I think that's a good question. Uh, I do feel like doing cinema now because
Yeah.
having done a lot of theater, and I think it's that when I had to find something to do in cinema. So two films that I have done were things that I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and they were again affecting me so much that the first one was more by chance, Gandhi, my father,
Right.
and the other one, Dekh Tamasha Dekh, is something that I wanted to do very badly. So now I think there are a couple of subjects that I have, couple of stories which are affecting me a lot, and I think that's my criteria that it should almost physically affect me to say that this needs to get out of the system. So there are, and I want to do. I feel that now I'll be more excited to do and engage with cinema, so I will be doing it. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's so good to hear because we'd like to see you back on the big screen as well. What about OTT, that kind of storytelling as well, Firoz? I'm sure there must have been lots of people who must have approached you and wanted you to do a web series as well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
given your handle on spectacle and music and sets and
Mm.
everything. I mean, you're an all-rounder. I wonder how you've dealt with those offers.
Well, I have I've done for the small screen. I don't know whether you're aware. It's one of the biggest television program on family planning has been done by me called "कुछ भी हो सकता मैं कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ."
Of course.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, so that's so for me, there needs to be a reason and a purpose to do that. I haven't, framed my career in terms of only success and money. It had to have a very important connection with me, and what I feel it does contribute to what I do in society. So, if it doesn't do that, if the audience watching the work that I do is not changed, and if it's not affecting them or it's affecting me and the reason for me to do it. Now, the kind of things that have come in OTT, and it's been constant. It's not like it stops. It just happens almost on almost a weekly basis that a lot of things are offered to me. I really haven't come across anything that I have felt that I really want to do. And I feel that I'm more happy and comfortable doing theater or doing meaningful television that I did with मैं कुछ भी कर सकती हूँ or of course, as and when I feel that I want uh, to cinema. But I think in many ways my calling seems to be theater. I have to accept it, and I'm very happy doing it because I'm able to deal with so many stories. We have 5,000 years of work,
Storytelling. Yeah.
storytelling, traditions, and literature and everything, and I think somehow I also found an audience for my work
Yeah.
in theater, and I get better and better challenged, more challenged in terms of my craft and how I can challenge the language in theater. Not just the language, but even the language of storytelling. So I
Right.
somehow, I don't know, I have just felt very uh, uh, charged up doing theater. Not in an activist way, but in a way that I want to get up and want to tell the story. But I
Right.
feel the medium that comes to me most naturally is theater, and so that's it. So in OTT, I'm not saying there's some really great work happening on OTT. Some of them, not all, but some of them are really very good, terrific acting, and some great writing. But I have personally not felt that I have a place at the moment on OTT, which will be my voice. So I don't. So
Yeah.
that's the reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. We cannot end any conversation with you without talking about Tumhari Amrita. I think it is such a beloved play. And I think on a daily basis, someone or the other must be telling you, bring it
Yeah.
back with new actors, do something. Can't you do this?
Yes.
Can't you do that? I'm sure almost on a
Yes.
daily basis. It is
Yes,
one of those,
absolutely on a daily basis,
yeah,
the tell you that I am very seriously considering doing that. In fact, one of the it actually I'm doing this first, and then I'll be doing Tumhari Amrita because a lot of people said first do Tumhari Amrita and do this. I said no, I want to do this because I want to do something before Tumhari Amrita.
right,
You know,
right.
so
Also
Tumhari
to
Amrita is
constantly
there.
challenge yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I said that let me do this, and then this and Tumhari Amrita may perhaps become companion pieces with each other,
How
two
wonderful.
completely, yeah, two completely different things, and yet at the same time being connected by the story telling through letters. So no, Kavri, I'm myself very now keen and excited because it took me a lot of time to come to this because the wound did not heal for a long, has not healed in many ways with Farooq Saab because I
Absolutely.
think, yeah, because I think some wounds should not
Everyone's
heal.
wounds,
Yeah, and
everyone's
some
wounds.
wounds, yeah, and some wounds should not heal. They are
Yeah,
good because
yeah,
they are beautiful because they are memories.
right.
And in this case with Farooq Saab, it is like that. But
Yeah,
however, I think it's a terrific piece of work which needs to be shared more often and with more people. So I'm trying to find a way this time that I go to smaller places of India also with Tumhari Amrita and do it more often. So yeah, I will
and
be.
how wonderful it is, it's still so relevant, maybe much more relevant now than it was.
Yes,
It's very rare that you get such timelessness in a
yes,
piece of work,
yes.
which is what
Yeah, that's
elevates
again,
it, of course.
yeah, that's also one of the things that I look and somehow it has happened that most of the work that I've done, it hasn't
Yeah,
aged. They have
yeah,
continued to remain
absolutely.
for all times to come. So yes,
And
sure, that's going to happen. In
being
fact, there's a lot
relevant
more
is
in
the
theater.
most difficult thing to do in this age and time, isn't it? Remaining relevant.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the without relevance, it actually in a way doesn't make sense to do it,
Yeah,
to be very honest. Yeah.
yeah,
So there's no point just doing it. And I think that's the reason that whatever work that I get attracted to, they stand the test of time. They
right.
aren't just for that period of time and then you forget about it. It's not just consumed and thrown away. It's not
Thrown
that.
away. Yeah.
It's not a Tetra Pak. Yeah, it's much more deeper than that.
No, it's what do I say? It's a piece of maybe encased in gold or copper or something. But
Oh, I
one
think
last
perhaps
thing.
if because, yeah, tell me, go ahead.
Sorry, one last thing. Is it true that it's not ever been filmed? So is there no
No.
record of it?
It's recorded, but
Oh, thank God.
and it's yeah, yeah. It just, but it's very interesting to know how it was recorded, and that's the only one really, and that happens to be the last show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the first ever time we have done Tumhari Amrita in open air, because Tumhari Amrita is supposed to be done in a closed space.
Right.
So this was for the Agra Literature Festival, and this is
Oh,
the first time it got so close to the Taj Mahal as a backdrop. Never
oh,
before has it ever happened, and because it was a lit festival, they needed to cater to a large number of audience, so they requested. So we said, "Okay, chalo karte hain," because we got very tempted with Taj as the backdrop. So Taj
oh,
Mahal at the backdrop,
wow,
we are in front, 6,000 people
wow.
in that cold. We did, and that was the last show.
Really? Which year was
Yeah.
this? Do you recall?
Uh, I think it was two. Was it in 30? Yeah, 2013.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
2013. Yeah, 13 or 12. So yeah, 13. Correct, 13. And
Right.
yeah, that was it. And we did this play, and this was the first time Farooq is normally very normal. Me and Farooq don't get very excited. Shabana is the one
Yeah.
who gets very excited. She is a more volatile of the three of us. So we are, and Farooq was, I too actually, sorry to say that, but not, I don't want to put only Shabana being volatile. I am also,
Yeah.
so we are both in a way quite similar. But Farooq is a more calm one, he was just not, and he would never ask for any photographs or anything. This was the first time he said, कि फिरोज साहब इसके मुझे तस्वीरें भेजिए आप. Otherwise,
Oh,
he would do the play, and Farooq would never distinguish between whether it was a good show or a bad show. He could never
right,
figure out. Me and
right.
Shabana would figure out, but not him. For him, it was everything was fine. He was okay. But this is
Uh,
the first time he said that, I want the photograph. And there's another conversation which we did, which we had, where Shabana said कि फारूक अब देखो हमारी भी उम्र हो रही है, तो अब छोड़ देते हैं, अब किसी और को देते हैं. तो फारूक साहब ने कहा देखो शबाना, जब तक हम व्हील चेयर पे भी होंगे ना, हम लोग बैठ के तुम्हारी अमृता करेंगे.
how
And
love.
this was the last show. After that, and we were supposed, when me and Farooq Saab were supposed to meet on something, and this was it. So we do have a recording, but it's just a very kind of a, I would say very basic, but it's there as a record. Yes,
But
I do have it here
I'm
with me.
so happy that,
Yeah.
such things should not be lost to history. Because
Yes.
how much does our collective memory hold? It needs to
Yeah,
be
and
recorded.
Tumhari Amrita is a very special piece of work uh, as a part of our cultural history. I think that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. It's so wonderful talking to you as always. Thank
Same
you
here,
so
Kavri. I'm so delighted to talk to
Yeah.
you,
And I'm
and uh,
really
and
looking
I
forward to
hope that
this.
yeah, but yeah, maybe we will come to Delhi. You're in
Please
Delhi,
come.
Kavri?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah. So
Delhi. Please do come.
we should come with Suresh, and I would like you to be. I'll personally definitely
Thank you
reach
so
out to
much.
you. Bye, Kavri.
Thank
Bye,
you.
bye, bye,
All the very
bye,
best.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, bye.